Progress. I'm Steve, and today we're going to be talking about continuing education for preppers. So stay with us. So, last week we talked about maybe starting uh, blessings to share, concerns for prayer. And through the email, we did get a couple. So, before we get started on today's subject, bow your heads and let's do this. Merciful Father, thank you for another week and allowing me to do this. We have a gentleman who is praying or is asking us to pray to avoid shoulder surgery. He's doing rehab in order not to have to do surgery, and he'd really like our prayers. So please be with him and help him through this and help his muscles and the situation to strengthen and to be whole again. We have a gentleman who has been in an ATV accident and has asked for prayers. His family's asked for prayers for his quick recovery. Please be with him and be with that family. Help him heal and carry them through this. Father, as Hurricane Dorian has hit the Bahamas, Abaco Island, and is moving more inland, there are 5 families that have lost their lives. We know you know them. We know you know everything about them. If your eyes are on the sparrow and you know every hair on our heads, you know them. So comfort their families, help them through this, and just be with everyone in the path of Hurricane Dorian. Amen. Remember, guys, email us at preppinginprogress@gmail.com if you don't want to share your concerns or blessings in the comments. So, today's subject: continuing education for preppers. Now, when I was an EMT and going through paramedic school, we had to do what was called continuing education. You had to have so many hours in order to keep your licenses current, your ability to function within your given job. Firefighters have this too, nurses have this, doctors even have to go to seminars and whatnot, keep up with current practices within the trade. Now, I advocate prepping as a lifestyle. We look at it as something you live, something you do. It's not a fad. It's not something you're going to accomplish. You know, you're always changing your preps. You're always changing out your foods. You're always recycling through your fuels and doing what you can to make your situation ideally more self-sustaining and more self-sustainable. So, why would you stop learning? I figure that's why you're here. Some of you have been prepping for a while and you want to hear a totally different perspective. And some of you are new and are looking for beginner advice, for lack of a better term, even though I don't like the term beginner. You're a prepper. You're here to be prepared. You're here to learn things. You're not a beginner. You're not a newbie. We're all in the same boat. It doesn't matter if someone's been doing this for 20 years or 2 months. We are all equal. We each have something to learn from each other, and we each have something to teach each other. I've learned quite a bit in the comment section here. But as a lifestyle, rather than a fad or, well, I've done it all, I've got 5 years of food, I've got this, I'm done. No, you're not. You're never really done because, as we said, you're cycling things through, you're keeping things going. So, continuing education. You've got your bachelor's from Prepper U. You've got your class ring and your Prepper University t-shirt and sweatshirt. You've got the food in the buckets. You've got the water storage going. You've got the rain catchment system. You've got the cistern. Where do you go to learn new things and to brush up on your skills? That's a great question. And I have some options for you. Your first option, let's talk about community colleges. Community colleges as opposed to four-year colleges, and I'm not knocking four-year colleges. I've attended a couple in my life. But community colleges tend to focus on preparatory for four-year colleges or vocations. And you can learn just about anything at a community college, from getting your private pilot's license or a small engine airplane license to auto mechanics, to welding, machining, working as a machinist. There are a myriad of skills-based learning opportunities at community colleges. Miss Kim was happy as a stay-at-home mom, was happy doing the home prepper things. And one day she said, I'm good at this. I'm good at the logistics. I'm good at laying out the tables. I'm good at doing the math on the food. But I want to contribute more. I want a post-apocalyptic skill set. I said, okay. Electrical engineering, we've got solar panels. We need someone to do that. What are you thinking here? And she said, no, but I've read that you can weld on a battery. It takes longer, but you can do a battery. And worst case scenario, if an EMP hit, you've got backup solar control panels or control systems, right? Well, yeah. So you could keep batteries going for me and I could continue to weld, right? Where are you going with this, hon? The community college has a welding program. Okay. She walked in, and I don't know if that was just an example or what was going on, but she walked into the community college and said, what you got? And they said, well, we do have welding. And she said, okay, sign me up. And she did very well in her welding classes. And then she discovered that she only needed a couple of other classes to do a double major, and she took a couple more classes and became a machinist as well. And then she discovered that she really enjoys working in the industry, and now we've got another form of income that has allowed us to do more things with our preps. All because she wanted to continue her education and gain a post-apocalyptic skill set. So, community colleges are an option. Clubs. Let's talk clubs for a minute. We've got a local blacksmithing club. My son's done a little bit of work with them. You have, maybe in your area, farriers who come out and shoe the horses, maybe of your neighbors. Maybe you have horses and you pay a farrier to come out and shoe them. Ask him if you can apprentice with him for a summer. Send your kid out to apprentice with a farrier. Send him to a blacksmithing club. If you've got one night a week and that's when the club meets, go play. But you're learning skills. My next one is martial arts schools. I want to be very careful how I say this. Don't go out and take a self-defense class and think you're good to go. Conversely, don't go out and take a martial arts class and get your black belt and think you're good to go. My recommendations are find a martial arts school that does not focus on points and point sparring by getting hits to the side of the head or within a certain target area, because they're going to be teaching you to hit the target, not punch through the target and defend yourself. Okay? I highly recommend, if you're going to go that route, go the route of a full contact school. I was blessed to study a style here in Southwest Arkansas called Nico Bujutsu. It was one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life. Believe it or not, the Aikido that I'm studying right now is almost as hard in some ways and harder in others because of the focus on different muscle groups and learning and unlearning new skills. It's also interesting to learn with Aikido where, oh, it's all beautiful and flippy and you've done this. Yes, that's so that your partner can escape. You actually do this and you break the arm. And it's a matter of a twist or a shift in the weight by that much. Or just not letting go of the opponent. Where I'm going with this is find a martial art or school that is dedicated to teaching you combat, not playtime. Get in there, and for your 2 nights a week, 3 nights a week, give it your all. Put it all on the mat, learn it, and make the muscle memory of those moves and the principles behind those moves a part of you. You can know, this punch and this punch all day long, but unless when the punch is coming at you and you block properly and then deliver the punch automatically, it's not worth it. So as a continuing education, dedicate yourself to the training. Don't just say, well, I took this class and I'm good. Make it muscle memory. If I pulled out my 45 right now, closed my eyes, I could take it apart and put it back together right here in front of you. Because I've made it a part of me. So, team meetings. Let's talk about team meetings for a minute. If you are part of a MAG, if you have agreed to work with a set of people when the stinky stuff hits the air circulation device, it's a pretty good bet that they have skills that you don't have and you have skills that they don't have, and you've come together because of this. So during your meetings, sit down with each other and have one of them teach a class. If you're the farmer, let's even go the militant farmer, whereas your partner is a former Marine Corps shooting instructor, get him to teach a class, teach a day of range day. get him to teach shooting, get him to work it out. And then at the next time, you give a class on farming. So your team meetings are actually a opportunity for continuing education.
Sorry guys, you're going to get a lot of transitions in this one. I got a phone call, and I've actually been talking to my blacksmithing friend, who is picking up his forge for me today. I know I was trying to play with it, and it wasn't pretty. Now he's got to fix his anvil. You know how you break an anvil. He's still trying to figure that one out. Either I'm very big and very strong, or very stupid. Okay. Anyway, but I was learning a skill, demolition. But it may be a skill. Your local ham radio clubs. Get online. Make some phone calls around. Usually a ham radio club will meet once a month. They usually have multiple people who hold extra class licenses and have gone ahead and got the volunteer exam coordinator card. And you need 3 of those to take, a test to get your ham license. They've got them. And if you show up and, knock on the door of the meeting and go, "Hi, I'd like to learn about ham," it's not a "get out of here, kid." It's a "please come in. We will teach you." And they will probably deluge you with an overabundance of information. But go play. Even if you don't actually get your license right away, or you need to set up a separate address to have your license sent, or have it sent to a friend's house. I know someone whose home does not have an address. Our cabin's address is a highway contract route out of a town 30 miles away, and if you enter the address in on a GPS, it actually makes you circle a block in that town without ever actually finding the address. So, those things happen. But you can get a license, or at least get the knowledge in your brain. So, learning the ham radio would be a option as a continuing education project for you. And my last one, which kind of dovetails back with your team meetings, is prepper meetups. Arkansas has a group called the Arkansas Preparedness Network. I've talked about them before. I'm an admin. The first step is acceptance. There's a higher power, and okay, I've got to stop this. Seriously though, we facilitate meetings and meetups with various people in various sections of the state, and part of the format of having a meetup, quote unquote, is to have classes taught, have demos given. That's continuing education. That's learning about things that may not be part of your preps. We have a couple guys who do a great solar power demo and talk. We have another gentleman who does a ham radio talk. We have another guy who does water filters and can show you, I've seen several different ways to make a homemade Berkey filter with filters that you can order on Amazon right now. These are things that you can go to, you can attend, and you can learn that expand your thought process. I saw one guy take the idea of the double stack 5-gallon bucket water filter, brought it home, put a faucet end into the bucket, and then off of his water barrel he ran a hose. One end goes in the filter end, and one end comes out the bottom where the filtered water comes out, and he was drinking rainwater off of his roof because he was sending it through that filter. I never would have thought of that application for the filter, but he actually put it in line. So there's something like that. Other prepper meetup things that you can do. There's just a plethora. I am going to kind of tout one person. Um, this last weekend, Miss Kim and I went up to a meetup that was hosted by NWA Prepper. Go and check his channel out. I'll put a link up above. Um, and I didn't realize that he was doing what is called a Viking meetup. Now, Viking preparedness on YouTube. Go to his Patreon. It's $1 a month. Pastor Joe Fox, former Green Beret officer, worked in the intelligence community, I believe. Put it this way: he was out of the Pentagon. I don't speak for the man, but I was very impressed with his knowledge. He was there. He's kind of the Viking commander, I guess. I don't know what you would call him. But there were a couple guys there who did a ham discussion, and really a call to action to get the different ham groups within the state on the same page for communications. Then we had some fellowship and hung out, and then Pastor Joe got up, and I'm not going to tell you everything that he talked about in detail because he runs a Patreon, and out of respect, go pay your $1 a month, and I'm sure you can ask him the same questions and maybe ask him to figure out a way to put his PowerPoint up. But what he did was homestead security. And some of the broad things that he talked about, he went into dogs. We all say we've got dogs on our team. I've got my dogs. They'll protect me. They'll protect my property. He actually went into which gender should be the outside dog and which gender should be the inside dog, and the personality traits that supported that decision. Once again, go pay your $1 a month and ask him the question. He talked about whether you should leave your gates open or closed, how you should secure your gates. And this one I will share with you because I had actually learned it in wildland firefighter training. We especially operate right outside of a national forest. Wildland firefighting is offered by the Forestry Service, and they recommend, as does Pastor Joe, that you go to your trees and you trim them up 10 feet above the ground so that there's nothing low hanging to burn or to catch if the fire comes through. It's a precaution. This is especially, very close to your house. And those were just some of the points that he got into. And we're talking a good 30, 45 minute talk. That was fascinating. I came away educated with multiple pages of notes typed into the iPad and then transcribed into paper in case something were to happen to the iPad. So, continuing education for preppers. Yes, it's absolutely a necessity. We cannot just say, I've made it, I've arrived, I'm the big deal. We are all, to use a martial arts term, white belts. There may be some senior students who've been around a few years longer, but we're all white belts. We're all learning together. We're all moving forward together. So let's continue our education. Take some of these options and move forward together. Alright guys, once again, I'm going to put a link to NWA Prepper. I'll even try to post a link to Pastor Fox's Patreon. And throw out your blessings and prayer requests and whatnot, and in the comments or in the email, and we will pray for them next week. All right, guys. I appreciate you being here. The channel is growing, and you guys amaze me. So, thank you. Good luck, Godspeed, and until next time.